Right behind me is the James River. We've been in Virginia for the last 3 weeks, and we're gonna show you around Richmond and Fredericksburg, just some of the things that we did while we were here. It's appropriate that it's overcast today because basically our entire time in Virginia has been overcast or raining. Luckily, it seems like that rain has come to an end, which is great because we're on our way to the Overland Expo on Friday, which will be a video that comes out before this one. It'll be nice that it won't be rainy because we've been to a rainy Overland Expo and that's a lot of mud. We're gonna take you through a couple of battlefields, one in Richmond, one in Fredericksburg, as well as the Maggie L. Walker Historic Site in Richmond. Then we're gonna walk around the Capitol in Richmond, which was really kind of fun. We're sad we didn't get to do an interior tour, but we just had kind of run out of time. The visitor center's closed right now for refurb. We're walking in the park store. Hopefully they'll have the stamp.
This says
Chatham.
And then this says Fredericksburg.
The visitor center's open. Yeah. So that's a bit of a happy surprise for us. Richard Rowland Kirkland was known as the Angel of Marie's Height, noted by both sides of the American Civil War for his bravery. Over 8,000 Union soldiers had been wounded at the Battle of Fredericksburg, and while neither side was willing to venture out for fear of being shot by the opposing soldiers, Kirkland collected canteens, filled them with water, and delivered water and warm clothing to soldiers of both sides on the battlefield. Behind us is the Fredericksburg Battlefield. Mm-hmm. We're gonna leave our truck parked there and we're gonna walk this way towards historic downtown.
Correct.
Which is where the Chatham House is.
Correct.
So we're gonna do that really quick. I say really quick. We're gonna walk that way. If it feels like too far, maybe we'll stop. We got lost!
NPS maps aren't always the most reliable. I looked at the map and showed that we just stayed on Sunken Trail. And in fact, that was not our Sunken Road. That, in fact, was not the case. So now we are on Canal Trail. We've only extended our walk by about 20 minutes.
We added a mile to our mile-long walk. Not a lot of water. Get the train. You gotta get the train going over. It was my misunderstanding. I thought when I read about it, this was a Confederate hospital, but it was a Union hospital per the things that I've just read. And it overlooks the city of Fredericksburg. Didn't realize how busy it was gonna be when we walked out of there. But we just stopped out of the Capitol Ale House. We had lunch. I got shrimp tacos. Emily got a Cuban sandwich. The street corn was awesome. The shrimp tacos were very good. And Emily liked the Cuban sandwich, but it was a little dry. Ooh, that's kind of a cool car. Rolls Royce. Don't see those every day. That's it for Fredericksburg. We are now heading back to the Battlefield Visitor Center where we are parked. It is about a 1 mile walk. And then we're running errands. Get to go to Target today.
Right. We are at Richmond National Battlefield Park, the Cold Harbor Battlefield. So we have a tour map here, and we are going to go on a couple of the tours.
We're gonna do a little hike.
We're gonna do hiking.
Okay, I talked to their ranger in here,
Yep.
and something that struck me as interesting that he kind of pointed out is it's not as interesting as it sounds, is there were 13,000 Federal Army casualties at this battle,
Okay.
and only about 5,000 Confederate Army casualties.
Okay.
And I asked him, why is that? And he said, casualties don't really tell you what happened, because the higher number casualties just means that's who was attacking.
Okay.
Because the attacker, as they're attacking the other position, have no way to actually fire a weapon or anything, that they're being shot down while they try to push forward.
Huh.
So he said, like, the higher number of casualties, that's who was attacking.
Huh.
Thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The Battle of Cold Harbor.
Confederate main line.
So this is roughly where the Confederate Army was holding their line?
This is where they were holding their line. Richmond stood only 9 miles to the southwest, and General Lee knew that he must hold it here. They're standing at the center of the Confederate position. It says, keep your head down. The shallow, winding depression is all that remains of a zigzag constructed by Union troops in June 1864. In trench warfare, soldiers dug ditches called zigzags or covered ways to provide protection from sharpshooters as they moved from one line of entrenchments to the next.
So the Union soldiers would have been over here, and then they would have come out of the grass this way to see basically a 7-mile wide line starting there, going that way. You can't really see it, but there are some trenches dug back there. Wow. So this is a trench.
Yep.
And it's hard to really... Yeah, I'm saying, but it's hard to kind of show off like how close that next trench is.
Yeah.
This was the Confederate trench, and that one was the Union, and they're like not even 50 feet apart.
Yeah, they're not far at all.
That's crazy. So after the Union assaults on June 3rd were a failure, the ongoing truce, while the Union tended to their wounded, the two sides hung out together and traded newspapers. I mean, it says they were talking to each other, exchanging newspapers, and it was all unarmed men gazing upon the solemn scene.
Well, it was a 2-hour truce.
And it was a 2-hour truce.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. I don't know that I would have picked it out that this is a trench here that rolls across. And they said, was this by the summer of 1864? They had kind of refined what they were doing with the trenches.
So they did a header log.
Yeah. So essentially the shooter was protected. But I don't know that I would have picked out that trench had it. If it weren't marked, I would have just thought, interesting landscape. I made mention to it when we started, but it was a total of 18,000 soldiers that died here in a, what did they say, a month-long battle?
About.
It's just kind of sombering.
Yeah. Every time we come to a battlefield, I feel the same way. Like, they're all different in their own way, but it's always just very sombering and just, like, very quiet, very still, very, like...
You gotta, like, reflect on...
Yeah. Like, what happened and how...
So they actually had a thing inside about how many U.S. soldiers, Americans, died in every, like, major conflict.
Oh, okay.
And the Civil War is the highest with 625,000 dead.
Yeah.
Emily went to that side. Oh.
It's the sign saying not to walk along the trenches.
Don't get in the trenches. And now we're back to The visitor center.
Correct. You were on the right path. The 3 watersheds it connects to. Water from the mountain eventually makes its way to the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and Hudson Bay.
Plants, animals, and water.
D. Pupfish. Hard.
Hard.
Gone all in.
About how many grizzly bears live in Yosemite National Park? None, 50 to 100, 200 to 300, 400 to 500.
I'll go with 400 to 500.
None. The last grizzly bear in the Yosemite region was killed in the 1920s. There are no grizzly bears in California at all. Between 300 and 500 black bears currently live in Yosemite. Visitor center entrance. Maggie Lena Walker was an American businesswoman and teacher and became the first African-American woman to charter a bank and operate it as president. Her tenure as a teacher only lasted 3 years, as at the time when a woman married, they could no longer teach. She started the St. Luke Penny Saving Bank in order to help finance black homeownership in Richmond. Later, she would merge the bank with others during the Great Depression. Her home and many of her belongings were given to the National Park Service in the 1970s, and in 1983, tours of her home began. Her family helped to ensure that items were accurately placed in the home for when she lived there.
We just finished a tour at the Maggie Walker National Historic Site, where we got to watch a video about her life and then tour her home that she purchased and then ultimately passed away in. Pretty interesting. She was the first
African-American to charter her own bank and run it as the president.
So we got to tour the house, and then we realized we're only about 2 miles from Virginia's capital in Richmond. So we are here. We're gonna go walk around a little bit.
I assume that's George Washington at the top then?
I guess so. We're kind of not at the very best vantage point, so I'm gonna go over this side.
I don't even know if I'll know who George Washington or what he looks like in a bronze statue.
It also says you can do guided and self-guided tours, and this is the side of the Capitol, so we have to go this way to see the front of the Capitol. And here it is, just like that, video magic.
Well, it is like half a block from where we just were.
And you can see the statue. It's a very, very pretty Capitol. I really appreciate when people do something slightly different. There's not many states that do. I know Louisiana is one. I did not know that Virginia was different than the rest. The clouds make it very pretty.
We don't have a ton of time on our parking, so.
This is the governor's mansion. This was the civil rights memorial statue. I forgot.
William Smith. It's William Smith. He was the governor of Virginia. He was in the Senate, then he was the governor, then he was U.S. Congress, then he was part of the Confederate States Congress. And then after the Civil War, he was the governor of Virginia again. So last weekend we went up to Fredericksburg, and this weekend we're in Richmond. And today we went to the Maggie Walker house, and then we walked around just the grounds of the Capitol. Mm-hmm. That was kind of a fun day.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. A little bit different mood today than it was at the battlefields last week.
A little more hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were at the Capitol, or we were at the Maggie Walker house, which was very cool, very neat. And then we got the Capitol, and there's a statue of Maggie Walker. I mean, I'm sure anyone could have guessed there would be, but I thought that was kind of fun.
I'm curious if that's life size. I think she's taller than I was.
Well, she's definitely taller than I was.
Which one? One of these is Martha Washington.
That was Martha Washington.
Oh, I can't tell how tall she was.
So there's just this little like women in history thing. So it's all kinds of different women. The sun isn't cooperating very much. But anyway, some very influential women in history, or at least Virginia history. That's our tour of Richmond and Fredericksburg,
That's our tour of Richmond and Fredericksburg,
Virginia.
Thanks for watching.